It is Y105, Dubuque's number one hit music station. My name is Steve Pulaski. My next guest is an animator whose work spans a variety of shorts. His short film Ghost Dogs premiered at Sundance back in 2021. More recently, a specific series of his animated shorts was commissioned to a full-blown TV series. That series is called Ha Ha You Clowns, and it's a uniquely compelling story of three tight-knit brothers and the widowed father who raises them. It premieres on Adult Swim on October 19th and will stream on HBO Max the following day. He's the man behind it. He's Joe Cappa. He joins us now. How are you today, Joe?
I'm doing great. I've got some coffee ready to talk, or hope I'm ready to talk.
What's your mind at right now? Where's your mental state with the show going to premiere here in just a little over a week's time? I feel like you got to be over the moon.
Yeah, we're still trying to finish episodes, so it's going to be crazy when it actually premieres on HBO Max and an Adult Swim, and we're still like rushing to get some episodes done. I'm very excited. We actually had a premiere on YouTube last night, and that was I was not expecting me to be so anxious when that thing started going live. So I've just been like every once in a while checking the numbers, just like, all right, how's it doing? How's it doing? But I do love the show, and everyone at Adult Swim loves it. So I'm feeling pretty good about everything.
Describe Ha Ha You Clowns for those unfamiliar. I have a strong feeling that this is going to make waves when it does premiere.
Oh, that's sweet. I explained the show as really the thing that I think is the funny part is it's these three teenage brothers and they just like really love their dad. They think their dad is just the coolest. They really adore him. And I mean, that's really the hook there. I think of sitcoms and I think of shows today and, there's a lot of like snarky, like one-liners back and forth between all the characters. But in this one, it's like they just all are like on the same page. They just all like love each other so much. So, it's tongue in cheek, but it's also sweet. It's a little bit of everything.
I think one of the draws to this series, because I have seen the 7 shorts that were part of Adult Swim Smalls, I think one of the draws to this series is like the lived-in qualities from the characters' expressions, the dialogue, which is sometimes mumbled or in the background, or a character says something that's just kind of one-off and not acknowledged by the others. What led you to make these creative decisions for this show, Joe?
I found my voice when I realized that I wasn't really a script writer. I was more of a storyboard artist. So once I like realized that, I was able to come up with a lot of stories. And I was always hard on myself for not putting out enough material. And then, the day I learned I could go to a coffee shop and just start storyboarding and coming up with the short as I was drawing it out. It's all those little details, like little mannerisms and little one-off lines from these characters. It's just like something that I'm like, all right, we're here right now in this moment, in this short, something funny should happen here. And so it would just be little small ticks like that, or, whatever came to mind.
I have to ask you this just because of the subject matter of the show. Do you yourself have a close relationship with your father?
Yeah, my dad he's a sweetheart. He was like the dad that if I brought friends over, he was like excited to meet them and hey, how's it going? And he would joke around with them and I'm writing this show with my brother. And so we have this sort of shared, as you said, like lived in sort of knowledge of our dad and brotherly love. So it all comes through in the episode, I think.
Does he see himself in Ha Ha You Clowns and the father?
My dad, yeah, I think so. He really is excited and he's very tickled about everything. And he knows it's like loosely based on him. I mean, little mannerisms and stuff, like in the pilot episode. He gets uncomfortable when there's like a sex scene. And I think it's pretty universal for most dads, but he's like trying to leave the room. He's like, okay, all right. Okay. As he's walking out of the room. And that's something my dad has done for sure.
He's Joe Cappa, the man behind Ha Ha You Clowns. It premieres October 19th on Adult Swim. The show draws on some sitcom conventions, specifically with the like Full House-esque musical cues, I guess you would say. Is earnestness, I guess that's the operative word I've used to, describe this show is earnest. Is earnestness something you like to experiment with your work?
Yeah, I think so. I did an interview last week and I kind of realized it as I was answering their question about that. A lot of people like label my stuff as like very wholesome. It's so wholesome. And I do think it's wholesome. And these characters are definitely like, we're really like leaning into it. But I don't set out to make wholesome shows or shorts. It's just like the whole crass thing that's like so popular with adult animation now. It's not it's just not my thing. I don't like particularly find it very funny. I think it's I'm just trying to like do my own thing, and so that avenue is sort of that earnestness, I would say.
What does it say about the world we live in, or at least the comedic landscape that we live in, where like we expect that gross out, crass style of humor, and then we're handed something earnest, and it's like subversive in a way we don't know how to deal with it. What's that say about the culture?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I remember watching Adult Swim and watching Joe Para for the first time,
Yeah.
and that entered that territory too. And like the funniest part of watching that show was just seeing the Adult Swim little bumper, little logo at the bottom of the screen because you're just like, this doesn't feel like an Adult Swim show. This should not be an Adult Swim show, but it's very sweet. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember when like really crass adult comedy for animated comedy started. I don't even know when, but it was like early 2000s. I feel like was like when we really like started to like make a lot of cartoons that way. And I'm not going to say I found it funny then, but I was definitely like more tolerant of it. And then we're 2025 and it's just like, God, are we still doing this? And I don't know. I just found an opening to I found this void that wasn't being filled, and so I was trying to make something a little different.
The origin of this series was Adult Swim's Smalls, which was a great way for animators like you to showcase your work in the short form, sort of bite-sized bits. How did Haha You Clowns wind up getting plucked by Adult Swim for that?
I had made so I also make paper mache heads, and then I shoot videos with these paper mache heads. And I was trying to pitch a short film, and the investor didn't go for it, but we ended up putting up this proof of concept thing that we used as pitch material on TikTok, and then that started being shared around quite a bit. And then there's this like art installation place called Meow Wolf, and they saw it first and they got excited about it. And then somebody at Adult Swim had like done commercials for Meow Wolf, and so then they clued Adult Swim into it, and then Adult Swim reached out to me. And then at that time, I was cooking this idea about the three boys and their dad, so it was pretty serendipitous.
Very nice stuff. Again, Joe Cappa, creator and animator behind Haha You Clowns. Adult Swim really feels like the last bastion for like avant-garde experimental animation, which is really creator driven too, which I'm sure is attractive for you. How has working with them expanded your creative side?
They have been truly like the best to work with. And I'm totally outside of this whole industry. I was just making cartoons on my own. I mean, just me voicing it and doing everything. Up until 2 years ago when the thing got a green light, and they've just been like all the execs have been very chill. I mean, that if there's a note, it's just a general note. Just make sure that you kind of address this maybe, and we're not sure if this is going to work, but it was never nitpicky in any way, and they just let me do my thing. And, I always credit them because I've heard when you're developing shows, this is what I was going to say about this is like, I think my experience is very different from any other TV show being made, in that execs are pretty hands-on about stuff and want to make sure that we're tackling this and hitting this demographic. And Adult Swim really just kind of trust the creator. But they let me sort of, for these three brothers, they are very similar in the shorts. I mean, that's pretty much like, it's my voice. I voice all the characters, and they are very similar. But the one note was, when you create the show, you're going to have to differentiate them a little bit and show that they're different people. But they never made me like come up with, my what we call is like a Bible. Like they never made me come up with this to explain who these characters are. They let me discover the characters as I was creating the show, which is just, like I said, when I'm brainstorming, I like to storyboard and just sort of come up with a thing as I'm writing it. So they worked within my processes to get the show done.
I read that you started in advertising. What was that like?
Yeah, I was in advertising. I'm from Oklahoma, and I worked with a couple small ad agencies. It was cool. I mean, it's where I learned how to animate. There's a program called After Effects, and so it was like, just like graphics. I was animating graphics, and from there I was like, okay, maybe I can do my own advertising agency in Denver, and I moved to Denver, Colorado, and quickly learned that I really wasn't. I don't know. That's not where my passion lies is advertising, though I did do it for many years, struggled to stay afloat. And then it was like, yeah, when I made Ghost Dogs, this short film, it was the first time that I was like, okay, I'm gonna like teach myself how to character animate, like really animate people talking, mouths moving, limbs moving around. And So that was like about 5 years ago.
What's a common misconception people, even those who are animators, have about the medium?
Of animation, common misconception. I don't know. I mean, it takes a lot of people. I've learned, that all those names on the credits after you watch a show, they all do something. And I don't know how many artists we've had total on the show. They come in and out, storyboard artists, designers, animators. But yeah, it takes a lot of people to make something, and it takes time. I think it took us a year and a half to make 10 quarter-hour episodes.
What kind of reaction from people are you hoping for when Haha You Clowns premieres in just over a week?
Well, I am aware that like some people who just aren't ready to watch something that feels wholesome, when they're expecting something a little bit more in the Adult Swim genre, that it's going to take them like a couple episodes to be like, oh, okay, I understand now. So, I'm kind of expecting this sort of, oh, I get it. And it's going to take a little bit of time. But like I said, Adult Swim's very like pumped on the show, and I obviously think it's funny. So yeah, I mean, you liked it, so that's good.
Loved it. Those 7 shorts are available on YouTube as well via Adult Swim Smalls, and I think that they serve as a great appetizer for the show. And it's, like I said, I remember watching the first one and just like waiting for the metaphorical bottom to fall out or something. And it never did, and I'm really glad it never did. And I'm really excited for this show. Like I said, I didn't know you before the show came on my radar, and I wish you nothing but tremendous success, Joe. You deserve it, and I will be watching.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve. You've been very kind.
If you want to use a final minute or so to plug your platforms, your Instagram, your website, feel free, my friend.
Sure. My Instagram is at Joe Cappa. That's Cappa. And I make short films. And yeah, I do paper mache heads as well. So look out for that stuff.
He's Joe Cappa, the man behind Haha You Clowns. It premieres October 19th on Adult Swim, next day, HBO Max. I wish you nothing but continued success, Joe. I cannot wait to watch.
Thanks, Steve.